The Bucs take on the Steelers tonight. So I bring in Brent Allen, my co-host from the Pewtercast, for episode 7 of the RTJ Rens Training Camp Journals. Lots of things to look at in the second string, third string, and other guys. We talk about the people we're going to be watching as we get our first real idea of what the bottom half of this roster is going to look like. All of that coming up right now.
Well, you made me weep, and you made me moan. When you caused me to leave, child, my happy home. But someday, baby, you ain't worry my life anymore.
Hey, Brent. Haven't heard from you in a while. How you doing?
What's going on, Ren? Man, glad to be able to talk to you and get back here on the podcast. I feel like you've been tearing it up, and I've just been over here twiddling my thumbs.
How's it been for you? You've been chomping at the bit?
I have been. Turns out when you do a podcast and you run a podcast and you don't get to podcast for a while, you kind of get the podcasting itch, and that hasn't been scratched in, I don't know, about a week and a half now, I guess, 2 weeks.
I don't know. When did we do the round table?
Yeah, it was last week sometime. It was Tuesday of last week, right? I don't know. Tuesday, Thursday, something like that. Anyway.
Well, fear not.
Yeah.
You're here.
Yay!
And we're going to talk about what players and things we will be looking for in the Steelers game. I kind of got broken down in offense, defense, but I'm going to go ahead and start out and let the listeners know, and I'm sure some of them already know, but these are players that will not be even making the trip. Or won't be playing. Jamel Dean. That's a bummer. I look forward to seeing him. Vea, fingers crossed, everybody. Jack Sitchie, who's perfectly healthy, but he's not making the trip.
Right.
Levante David. Scott Orndorff, he's the new tight end that we got. An ex-Apollo. Dakota Dixon, and he's been put on IR.
Yeah.
That one hurt me, because when Bruce Arians talks about these diamonds in the rough type of guys, this was a guy that was moving up the depth chart.
Yeah.
And,
I remember you and I were actually on the phone earlier today, and as we were on the phone call, that tweet came across from I think Rick Stroud it was, and I read it to you, and you were like it just took all the air out of our conversation. You're like, oh, yeah. Man. I'm
going to go now, Brent. I'll talk to you later. I'm going to leave. I'm going to hang up now. Anthony Nelson, draft pick out of Iowa. Scotty Miller, that's also a bummer. Wanted to see him. Yeah. And then
what's going on with Scotty Miller? Is there an injury or
hammy tweak? Pulled his hammy. Tweaked his hammy.
Okay. Why are they not even going to the game?
That was a verbiage used. I don't know. They might be on the sidelines. That was sort of kind of the verbiage used by Bruce Arians.
Yeah.
Like they're not going to make the trip. I don't know. Maybe it's because the Glazers let them have 65 coaches.
They're out of seats. They don't want to have to run another bus.
Yeah,
right?
They might be. There's a lot of people.
It is still a business, right? Like there are still costs. It's not unlimited, right? I get that.
And then the final guy is KJ Brent, someone who has been out the past couple practices. He's a wide receiver. I've barely even noticed him. And the only time I did notice him is, oh, look, KJ Brent's not practicing. So the
only time I noticed him was like 2 days ago when the Buccaneers sent him like a happy birthday tweet.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Who's that guy?
He shares his last name is my first name. That's the only reason why it jumps out to me.
All right. So, a couple of bummers there. Lots of draft picks,
Yeah.
Dean, Miller, Nelson, those are all, not going to show up, But better safe than sorry, I guess, and hope those guys get back soon. So I'm going to start with the offense. I'm going to let you go first.
Okay.
I sort of have mine broken down into position groups. I don't have all the position groups, but so however you want to do your list is fine. But I'm going to let you go first. Like, what's a player or something that you'll be looking for?
Do you want me to do them all or just kind of do one? Do you want me to do them like all?
Hey, God.
Exactly. All right. Well, I'll just go. All right. I'm gonna.
Just do one.
No,
Just
no.
do one.
Okay.
We'll go back and
I
forth.
think probably the big one for me, honestly, which might be the big one for just about everybody on offense, is I want to see Rojo. All the hype that has been building up around Ronald Jones, the little bit that I did get to see from my one day at training camp, what I've heard from you and everybody else who's been there at training camp just about every single day, I now want to see Rojo go up against somebody other than our own people, and I want to see him when the lights turn on. You know?
Right.
And,
This is a little bit of a delicate one for me.
Yeah.
Because Barber's going to start, I think has been said.
Right.
And the starters aren't going to play like much more than a series.
Right. If
So,
that, in Bruce Arians' words.
Yeah. So, do you want to sort of risk Rojo's confidence putting him behind our second string offensive line, which is not good?
Right.
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 I want to see Rojo too. I have the running backs down, but I don't have Rojo listed. I kind of waiting for week 2, definitely week 3.
Sure.
For that when they play into the third quarter for Rojo. But that'll be interesting to see, because I think Rick Stroud actually asked Arians, when I was in that media scrum, was, are you going to get Rojo some reps behind the number 1 offensive line?
Mm-hmm.
And his answer was like, I'm going to try to.
Right.
So maybe, if they don't get a first down, maybe that won't happen. But if they pick up a couple first downs, maybe we'll see Rojo come in.
Sure.
Spell Barber in the first series. But for running backs, what I'm looking at is the Dare Ogunbowale and Ellington battle. I actually have everyone's number written down to help people out in case they're not familiar with the roster as we are, which if you are, that's why you listen to the Petercast, and if you're not, that's why you listen to the Petercast.
Right.
Dare is number 44. Andre Ellington is number 32.
Okay.
Dare's been great in camp. Every time he touches the ball, something good happens. There are rumblings around now, the media room, that Dare could actually make Andre Ellington expendable. He's doing that well.
Yeah.
He's doing that well. And then I also have Bruce Anderson, a guy who's probably destined for the practice squad.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to see him, because the only chances he gets is sort of like with the 3rd, 4th stringers. Right. And he's not doing anything wrong. It's just that Dare looks so good.
Right.
It's so I want to see, Anderson, and this would be a big preseason for Anderson.
Mm-hmm.
So he can make a case for himself to sort of stick on that practice squad.
And so the battle at running back is not necessarily between Dare and Anderson for that number 4 spot. It's really between Dare and Andre Ellington for that number 3 spot.
That's what I think. Yeah, that's what I think it's coming down to.
Yeah.
At least early on.
Yeah, fair enough.
Hopefully one of those guys will pull away.
Fair enough.
All right, what else you got? You got anything else for offense?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I'm going to jump up on the offensive line, and I know he's not going to be playing a lot because they say that, starters aren't going to be playing, but I want to see Donovan Smith. We signed him to this big contract this year. I know it's just preseason. I know there's all these things, but this is, as typically happens, people sign their contract, and then for whatever reason that next year tends to be like an off year. Donovan can't afford that. He doesn't have a long-term contract. I think it's a 3-year contract, but effectively it's really only a 2-year contract. I want to see Donovan. I want to see how he's performing. I want to see how he's improving under this new offensive line coach with Harold Goodwin and whoever else is out there doing offensive line stuff. Because we need Donovan to have a good year.
With one of the other 7 guys.
Right, exactly. One of them might be a girl. I'm not sure. Do what?
No.
It's the other side. I know. Anyway, one of them might be whatever. I need to see Donovan. I want to see what he's going to do this year. I know who we have in Alley. He's as consistent as the day is long. DeMar Dotson is DeMar Dotson. If he gets injured, nobody will be shocked, but he'll be relatively steady. But that's really Donovan to me is the big one right now.
Yeah, I have, the offensive line down here too, but I have just one guy. And I thought about Donovan Smith, obviously. Mm-hmm. Ryan Jensen, I'd like to see him play, improve, sort of level up to what we're paying him. Mm-hmm. And then, of course, Alex Kappa. Right. and I'm going to be watching Alex Kappa. But if he's
Sure.
only in there for a series, so the guy that I'm going to be watching is the number one tackle off the bench, Caleb Benenoch.
Yeah.
He has had a
Mhm.
terrible camp, at least
Mhm.
early on. And then it seemed when the offense started to improve, that's when
Mhm.
Caleb got hurt. He had his birthday, and I don't think they gave him the day off of his birthday, but he had his birthday, and he was dressed like in full pads, but I didn't
Mhm.
see him practice all. And then the next day he was injured.
Mhm.
So he probably got dressed and was like, my tummy hurts. And then next day, I don't know. I'm just kidding. So I want to see Ben because he's gonna get some extended playing time.
Mhm.
He may end up going up against the ones. Against some of the Steelers outside rushers against the ones, but he'll probably play 1.5, 2
Mhm.
quarters worth of football. So that's what I'll be looking for.
Who's our other backup tackle right now? Who'll be on the other side?
Yeah, Boozer.
Boozer. Okay. Boozer was a guy. He was on. I want to say he was on practice squad a lot last year. He might have gotten bumped up to the active roster once or twice.
Yeah, he's
I
been
think.
around.
Yeah, but he was around. He was in a lot of the photos from the Monday night dinners or Thursday night dinners they do. So yeah, I'll be interested to see how he's coming along. We'll have the other guy, and you actually briefly mentioned him, and it's very much in the same boat as Donovan, is Alex Kappa. Except
Right.
Alex he needs to have a good. We need him to have a good year, and he needs to as well, because right now he has that bust label on him from last year. So
Yeah,
but
I think he has more of an incomplete than bust. But
fair.
his era wasn't trending up.
Yeah, I would say I think there's a lot of people that gave him the bust label after last year, and maybe this camp has moved it towards that incomplete. Like they're kind of giving him a mulligan on the first year,
Redshirt year.
Yeah. But it's we want to see him. He was a 3rd round pick after all. So yeah, Alex Kappa is another guy certainly that I want to see, but unfortunately we won't be seeing a ton of them.
You got anybody else on offense?
Well, possibly. I don't know if you count this as offense or not, but I want to see Matt Gay.
Right.
The one day that I was there, it was Cairo kicking. I know what Cairo's kicks look like. That's fine. This kicking battle really seems to have heated up again. I think we speculated the day I was there, like, hey, maybe Cairo just lost his job. But then apparently Matt Gay came out and had a bad day. And then apparently they've had a couple really good days each. So I still want to see Matt Gay. I watched you know what I watched the videos of Matt Gay for more than anything else? Is I want to hear this boom that comes off his foot that everybody keeps talking about, and it never translates to Twitter videos. Like I keep waiting for it. I know it's first world problems, right? But it's I want to see Matt Gay. I want to see him kick.
Yeah. Well, when you come down on Sunday.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I will be there.
Yeah, when you come down, so we're doing Sunday. What are we doing? Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday?
Sunday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's the idea.
Tuesday, Wednesday. Yeah, so you'll get to see him. There's no way you won't be able to get to see him.
Yeah.
You might get to see him twice.
There you go. But more than that, I want to see him under the lights. Kicking in practice is one thing. This is a guy he's been kicking for like 2 years. A football,
right.
Anyway. So I want to see him when he gets under the lights. And honestly, while I don't know that it would be as big of a deal in the preseason, I'd almost kind of like to see it get in I don't want to say a game on the line type situation because you never really hope that the game is on the line of your kicker's toe, though it does happen. But I'd like to see him in a little bit of a high pressure situation if possible.
Yeah, and BA in this kicking battle, like they both started out on fire. Like if they miss one, like that was like a bad day.
Right.
And now they've both had some days where it's like, oh geez. And then, like you said, they've both had days where they look like they did early in camp. And Bruce Arians just finally came out and said in a presser, he's like, it's going to come down to preseason. He's like, that's what it is. He's like, I know what we have in both of them. They're making the same sort of close enough percentage.
Right.
And so basically, it's like as long as Gay doesn't choke, it's his job.
Right. Yeah, he's the draft pick.
Well, it's his leg.
Yeah.
I mean, like I was just there, and he kicked a 65-yarder. That's an NFL record.
Right.
That's like the longest kick ever in an NFL game. Like that that would be the record.
Mm-hmm.
And he kicked, and he didn't look like he swung too hard, and it didn't hit like the top of the net, hit the bottom third of the net, but
Mm-hmm.
it didn't just squeak over the crossbar either.
Right.
So, I really just sort of think it's his job to lose.
Mm-hmm.
Some other players I'll be watching on offense, the wide receiver position. I'm going to go over mine, and you go ahead and
Sure.
Caleb Benenoch, 77. Write that down, everybody.
In case you didn't remember from last year.
Yeah, you remember from last year. Justin Watson, when the depth chart came out, it was sort of this, and I talked a little bit about it, like Watson, Bobo, Miller were like this blob, and you weren't really sure who the fourth receiver was.
Mm-hmm.
And the depth chart came out, it was Justin Watson, a last year draft pick out of an Ivy League school, big, athletic, fast. And then the depth chart came out, and it's the last practice I went to after it came out, they fed him the ball. Like, he must have had his best practice, but because they threw him the ball the most.
Right.
And he was catching. So I want to see Justin Watson in there. And then Andre Johnson, the kid out of Buffalo who sort of separated himself. There's so many receivers. It's like first string, second string, third string, other.
Right.
And he made it into third string. It was like him and Scotty Miller. Andre Johnson's 81. And then the two guys that I think can push for that last spot is DeMarcus Lodge, who's been back at practice a couple days, number 18. Came out of Ole Miss. That was they had a really potent 3 wide receiver set there. And of course, Bobo Wilson, who will be getting the punt return and kickoff duties. It wasn't a huge shock, but having Andre Johnson ahead of Bobo Wilson on the depth chart and sort of Scotty Miller and Justin Watson, it was like, okay, Bobo's got some work to do.
Right.
So for Bobo to get that last spot, who is number 85, he might have to make it on special teams.
Yeah, I was going to say, so fast forward a few weeks when they have to go to the 53-man cut down, even though Bobo was listed last on the depth chart, or at least the lowest on that depth chart that you just
wasn't
mentioned.
The lowest. He was the first of the others.
Yeah, that's what I mean. But could he make the team over some of these other guys that you were talking about just because of the punt return, kickoff return duties that he'd be doing?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I think Scotty Miller's made the team.
Yeah,
I do. And if Watson beat 4 right now, I think Watson's made the team.
Sure.
So you're kind of battling for that kind of last spot, but
Right.
they could keep 7 wide receivers. But really, like 6 is kind of pushing it. That's kind of like the magic number. So,
Right.
yeah.
And as we say, and we've heard this for years, and BA has said it as well, those last couple of spots, those last 10 spots on the roster, whatever their position isn't really their position. Like, they're special teamers.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're keeping 7 wide receivers. You've got 5, and you got 2 guys that are special teamers who happen to also do wide receiving.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I have 2 more offensive categories to go over, and these will be pretty quick. One
All right.
tight end.
Okay. Let me guess. You want to see your boy Tanner Hudson?
I do.
Yeah.
Number 88.
There you go.
88. He's my son Tanner Hudson. Yeah, all he does is catch the ball. He's not open all the time, but he catches it. And when he's open, he does catch it. And when he's covered, he catches it. All he does is catch it. And then, again, sort of like the Justin Watson scenario, when the depth chart came out and they had a practice afterwards, they threw the ball to Tanner Hudson all the time. Like, he must have caught like 5, 6, 7 balls and caught them all. So Buck fans, number 88. I'm very close to saying that the tight end battle is over.
Yeah.
That it's those 4.
Yeah.
OJ, Brait, Auclair, and Hudson. But we will see, because the other guys are Leggett, out of free agent picked up from New York, and he does have he has experience on his side, but I haven't really seen him really flash in practice. I haven't seen him do bad in practice. And the other guy, Orendorff, who's I don't he's not even making the trip.
Right.
So he's a camp body if you kind of ever really seen one.
I tell you what, I'm actually a little bit interested to see in this preseason game is Anthony Auclair. And the reason why actually is you were talking about him on your last training camp diary. Kind of the same idea. Like, they've already decided on these 4. It's going to be these guys, unless something drastic happens. But with Anthony Auclair, and I was remembering, like, we cut Luke Stocker in favor of keeping Anthony Auclair.
Mm-hmm.
And Luke Stocker's big thing was he was the big blocking tight end, right?
Right.
And that's kind of really much what you were describing Anthony Auclair as being. So I'm, and this will be, I think, his third season with the Buccaneers now, going in for Auclair. And
the second.
yeah, we'll have to check that.
There we go.
Sure.
One of us is right.
Yeah. It's 3. Anyway,
Yeah.
but
Actually, I can check it right now.
yeah, there you go. But I am looking forward to seeing, because I want to see this blocking thing that you kind of talk about. Like, I want to see how commanding that is, because I remember Luke Stocker, he was very, very good at what he did. If I remember right, he had a little bit of the injury bug, but also his
Anthony Auclair, NFL experience, 3 years.
there you go, boom, nailed it. So yeah. Anyway, I'm interested to see how Anthony Auclair is holding up as, because I know what Cam Brate's going to do. I know what OJ's going to do.
Right. Auclair could be the best blocking tight end we have right now, but that's because Brate can't block. We all know it. We like him, but we don't talk about it. But he can't block. He's not very good at it. OJ was, came in as sort of like this guy that can block and is a phenomenal athlete. No one can cover him, like no safety, no corner, because safeties are too slow, linebackers are too slow, corners are too small. Can't cover the guy. But they didn't ask him to block a lot. Under Cutter's regime, to be honest. So it's sort of the jury's sort of out on him as far as a blocker. And then, so I'm really looking at Auclair about his pass catching ability, because I think it's made huge leaps. He might be one of these guys that gets like 4 touchdowns and they're all like inside the 10. You know what I mean? It becomes like the red zone target you forget about.
Right.
Like when like when the offensive tackle scores a touchdown and no one's around him.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I think Auclair's kind of in for that season, like, 3-4 touchdowns where he's just standing there like, hey, I'm open.
Right.
Because of all the targets they have down there in the red zone. And last for the offense is the guard position. Our boy, who I like to call Ledecky.
Oh, Mr. Leaky.
Mr. Leaky. He's out. They put him on IR for the season for a shoulder injury.
Yeah.
Which bumps up Zach Bailey, number 61.
Oh, yeah. This guy.
Agent this year.
Yeah.
Third stringer. A lot of people were sort of excited about him. They weren't, like you said, when the people that thought Kappa was a bust were talking about this Bailey guy could, possibly push for that starting job. So he's gonna get bumped up there. And then Reuben Holcomb. Number 70, he's going to get a lot of playing time at guard too. So with the, I thought the interior line depth was better, and I still think it is better than the tackle depth. But with Leaky, who basically played all 5 positions. He played left tackle for us in preseason last year, and I've seen him take. Well, I saw him take like live snaps and on 11-on-11s, like he was playing center. Him and Evan Smith were flip flopping at center and guard.
Right.
With him gone, that sort of hurts that depth. So these guys Holcomb and Bailey got to step up. So Holcomb 70 and Bailey 61. Those are interior lineman guards I want to watch. That's it for me.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned that. You just mentioned the name. I am a little curious to see Evan Smith, because I understand Evan Smith was injured most of last year. He didn't play. But even when he was playing, there was nothing spectacular. At the beginning of the year, he started doing that kind of revolving door with Caleb Beninock, actually, if I remember correctly. And then he got injured and was out. But apparently he's now had both hips replaced. He's got a couple of knees in there. I understand they put in some new hydraulics in his thighs.
Oiled him up.
Yeah. So I'd like to see – I'm a little bit interested to see what Evan Smith looks like. What's this guy? Laribus, guy we got out of New Orleans.
Yeah.
I've said before, it seems to me like those two guys could be in a little bit of a battle back and forth. So I'm kind of interested to see those guys.
Being that backup center, swing guard,
yeah,
combo guy.
Yeah, I don't know that this is the game that I'm going to be watching for that one a ton out of, but if all else fails, I think that'd be an interesting one to look at and see.
Yeah. If I'm going to watch Evan Smith, and for this game, I just want to see if he can still play.
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Yeah, that's great. Yeah. That's exactly.
Yeah.
I think that's exactly what I'm thinking right now. Yeah.
You know, I kind of know what I got in him. I
Uh-huh.
know sort of his ceiling.
Right.
I need to know if age has caught up with him and he can't even get to where I would like for him to be higher.
Right. Because I mean, we've talked about the value of having somebody who can play center and guard.
Right.
Somebody who has been around enough that is a coach on the field, and you're absolutely right. That's mostly how he carries himself as a coach on the field, or on the sideline, I guess.
And we don't have enough of those.
Well, you know what?
I can sound like I'm negative. I'm not. I love the large coaching staff.
You know, here's the deal. If he can't play, then maybe he can put on a polo shirt and still coach.
Yeah,
there'd be room for him.
I wonder if he gets more or less money.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the coaching staff budget is. So anyway, yeah, that's enough of Evan Smith, though. That's
all right. Defense. What are you looking for in defense, Brent?
Honestly, the first thing that I think I'm looking at, if you remember a couple weeks ago when we did our what are the 3 positions we're watching for in camp, the big one that I said on defense was going to be in the secondary.
Right.
And as things have progressed, something that has surprised me is the idea that our number 1 and number 2 starting cornerbacks are VH3 and Carlton Davis, because quite honestly, I thought one of our draft picks this year would take that spot over. Mm-hmm. So I am interested in watching that duo as a tandem. Hopefully they get a little bit more playing time than what
the Graves.
Yeah, the Graves, right? Yeah. The Graves. I'm interested in watching. I'm interested in watching those 2 guys. Just to, are they really the starters?
Yes. And the reason they're known as the Graves, anytime they make a play, be hashtagging the Graves. Yeah. Because
are you gonna do the apostrophe like DA apostrophe
capital G Graves?
Are you gonna spell it weird like Hargraves does, like GREAVE or whatever it is? Yeah.
Yeah. The man's name's Vernon Hargreaves. Let's face it.
Yeah.
But somehow he says it Vernon Hargraves. But whatever. So I think that they're going to do really well in Todd Bowles' defense, and they're winning different ways. Like I said this on a prior pod, like Vernon's jumping routes and sort of being a savvy vet and knowing when to take his chances, and then Carlton Davis is just stuck to the guy's back hip, just everywhere all the time.
And if I could add on to this a little bit, like, remember how hard Buccaneers PR and social media were pushing Sean Murphy Bunting?
Yeah.
Like, even more so than Devin White, it seemed like, on some cases.
Yeah.
Like, so where is he going to fit into all of this? Like,
he has disappeared, and that's why I have him down.
Do you? Okay. Well,
I do.
Sorry to steal your thunder there.
No. No, it's called a segue.
There you go. Look at that. Professional radio host podcasters right there.
I at cornerback, I don't have Hargraves, or I don't have a lot of starters on here. I just have a few.
Sure, because they're going to be playing 4 minutes in the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
Here's what to watch for. Oh, okay. The first.
All right, I'm done. Click.
That's it. I don't have to watch anymore. SMB, Sean Murphy Bunting. I believe I'm the one who started that, by the way.
There you go. Now, did you say, to clarify with what you were just saying, he's disappeared?
I haven't seen it. Well, for me, there's lots of moving parts, and
sure there is.
If you're not sure what's going on, but as far as popping, it's like him and Jamal Dean have pretty much been invisible to me. That doesn't mean they're doing a bad job. I remember, I was like, Jesus, where the hell's Rashad Perryman? And then Byron Leftwich comes out in his press conference, talks about what a great training camp Rashad Perryman's having, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then the next practice I go to, he catches 3 touchdowns.
Right.
Like, oh, all right, well, okay. Oh, okay, Byron. Now I see what you're talking about.
Right.
So Sean Murphy Bunting might be having a great camp by where they think I don't think he's behind or anything.
Sure.
It's just he hasn't, he's not making as many plays as Vernon or Carlton Davis.
Mm-hmm.
But number 26, our second round draft pick, our high second round draft pick out of Central Michigan, I think he's going to get a lot of playing time because he's a rookie and he's quote unquote technically not starting.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be interesting to see who they start at nickel.
Yeah.
Probably Bunting, maybe Stewart, because Stewart's had a good camp. And he's the other guy I'm looking at, MJ Stewart. Talk about the bus label. Like, I was ready to kick this guy out of town.
Oh, yeah. He can't even run.
You can't. Like, you can't play slot, and then they put him at safety, and then we get to camp, and he's not playing safety, and it's like, and then they drafted a safety, and then, we thought Justin Evans would be back by now,
Sure.
and they had Whitehead, who they drafted the year before, and now they've
Mhm.
drafted 3 safeties in, 4 years, and,
That's right. There was a little bit of us that thought they were just going to cut everybody that they drafted last year after this
No.
year's draft.
No.
Okay, it's a little hyperbole. I'm just saying.
You
Yeah.
may have thought that. I did not think that. But I was with you. I thought some of these guys would take starting positions.
Yeah.
I would not have been surprised if Sean Murphy Bunting, started the season an outside corner before training camp started.
Sure.
That wouldn't have been a shock to me.
Sure.
But number 36, MJ Stewart, has had a really good camp. But you have to think where he started from, which
Sure.
was, I think he's going to be cut. And this defense suits him better because, he's a little bit of stockier, thicker of a corner, and he can get up there and play man-to-man and bully guys a little bit. So those are guys I'm going to, at the cornerback position, those are 2 guys I'll be keeping an eye on. Excuse me. Hello. What else you got for defense?
Well, with Levante David being out, slotted in his spot now is Dayon Buchanan, or Dayon. I don't know how you say that.
I think it's Dion E.
Dion E. All right.
Because that's the way it's spelled.
Dion E. Buck Cannon is what I'm going to call him. I want to see this guy. I mean, he was one of our big draft or not. He was one of our big free agent guys, and I put in quotes for those of you not watching the video of this because this is an audio podcast, not a video podcast. I put in quotes, big free agent signing.
Yeah.
But he was certainly, was he the first? I don't know.
He was early.
Yeah, he was one of the early guys. So I'm real excited. Not excited. I'm just real interested to see what he's going to do, especially in place of Levante David.
Right. And I got the other guy next to him as far as the interior linebacker spot. I know he's not going to play a lot, but I want to see Devin White.
Sure. Sure.
First series, or maybe he stays in for 2 series because he's a rookie.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see him make the calls, and I want to see his read and recognition, because read and recognition seems to be very good in camp, but that was what was sort of a red flag. It was kind of like when he talked about things he doesn't do very well, that was like, that one always came up. Like, he was a little slow on read and recognition. Great, but then it'd be like, great player, like top 10 type talent. But, if you're looking for things, that he has to improve on, that came out. It looks like he's been doing it great in camp, but the interior linebacker position, I want to see our first round draft pick.
I'm with you on that. However, with his spot in particular, and especially as a first round draft pick, I know we're going to see him. We'll see him for a little bit in the game on Friday, but I'm kind of saving my eyes on him for another preseason game where he'll be in it a lot more, so we get a bigger sample size of what he's going to do. Some of these other guys that I've named so far as starters, Donovan Smith, Alex Kappa, VH3 and Carlton Davis, I know they're not going to be in there very long, but I feel like, these are guys that we are somewhat familiar with. All I need to see is a handful of plays out of these guys, maybe a drive, and just get a good taste of what they feel like. I need more than a taste of Devin White. Like, I need to sit down to a big old honkin' meal of Devin White and seeing what he can put on the field. But I'm with you. He's our number 1 draft pick. I want to see him, and there's a lot of excitement around about this guy. I mean, they're talking this guy could be, like early predictions, he could be Defensive Player of the Year or Defensive Rookie of the Year or something like that.
Right.
And I don't know if they've actually just said straight up Rookie of the Year or something like that.
Rookie of the Year.
He could. I mean, we haven't even done our own preseason predictions for the upcoming Pewtercast Awards, Ren. But you got to imagine Devin White could be in the running for at least one of those. So.
Do we do preseason predictions for the
No,
Pewters?
we don't. We never have before.
Okay.
But,
I'm like, what? Like, yikes.
No, that's a shameless plug of the upcoming Pewtercast Awards that'll happen in about 4 months. 4 or 5
that will
months.
happen next year.
Exactly. Literally next year.
Yeah.
So yeah.
So what else you got on? No, I just want to touch on. When you were talking about the starters, because you're saving Devin White, because no matter what the sample size, the small sample size you're going to get, the jury's still going to be out on him.
Sure.
With these guys, you've seen them in prior years, and you kind of know what you have. Basically, you just want to see them win.
Yeah.
Like I want to see them win their reps.
Yep. Yep.
And not look stupid. If Devin White looks stupid, you're like, it's all right. It's preseason. It's his first game ever.
Yeah, exactly.
But with these guys, it's like, ugh.
Yeah. Like,
so it's
Donovan,
these guys.
we've seen this before, buddy. I thought this was what we were working on here.
Those guys we need to see win.
Yeah. Exactly.
What else you got for defense?
So I'm gonna come down the line, and I'm really more up on the line now. The first big guy to me is Shaq Barrett.
Okay.
I think this guy was our big free agent signing. I think he's been the one who's kind of like, this is the guy. So I want to see him. I want to see what he can do.
Over Dominican Sue?
Do what?
Over Sue?
That's a good point. I forgot about him. But Sue Sue wasn't like in the free agent period though. You know what I mean? Like I was kind of thinking
he wasn't in the free agent frenzy.
Yeah, he wasn't that, right? So he's kind of later. But even Sue's one of those guys. You kind of, I kind of feel like I know what we have in him.
Okay,
you know what I mean?
Fair.
Like
yeah. Barrett's a mystery to us.
Do what?
Barrett's a mystery to us?
He is a mystery, yeah. Wasn't he the backup to Von Miller or something like that out of Denver? So let's see what this backup has. Yeah, I mean, Ndamukong Suh, like, we really know what he has, and I'm glad that we have Suh for a different reason. Like, admittedly, when we signed him, I still had a lot of preconceived notions kind of about his reputation and things like that. Mm-hmm. But since he's come into the Buccaneers, I've looked at it a lot more. A lot of that negative stuff really has been. It's been a long time since that's been an issue for him.
Yeah,
And he's still been a pretty good player. I think he's going to be very Gerald McCoy-esque, except maybe a little meaner, a little nastier. So, like, I feel like I've got that. But the Shaq Barrett though, and a little bit of some of this is really more Todd Bowles as a whole. Like, I want to see what this new defense is all together, because I haven't in depth watched this 3-4 new scheme with stand-up, outside linebackers and what that looks like for the Bucs. Like, obviously I've seen it for other teams. I want to see what it's going to look like here, because it's kind of messing with my mind of how the defense works here in Tampa.
Yeah, I got for outside linebacker. You hit it on the head. Number 58, Shaq Barrett. Yeah. I got him down. I want to see what.
Wait, 58. They gave him okay.
Don't.
All right.
Thank you. And then I got another guy who just came back. And interesting enough, I saw him take a rep or two at interior linebacker, which is David Kenny. I saw him in practice. Like, I think it was after the Levante David injury, and maybe they knew they weren't going to bring Jack Sitchie, so they were just putting him in there because, late in the fourth quarter, because he's a stouter guy. Mm-hmm. He can hold up. He's not, sort of like this gazelles like Barrett and Spence are. He's sort of a little shorter, more of a fire plug type of defender, and he's got some juice. Like, he's got the body type of Devin White. He really does. But they have him at outside linebacker. He's only been practicing for a couple of days, which means they like him, because the Bucs have made 2 rounds of cuts now, and they've kept him both times. And the first time they kept him, he was still injured, like never even had a practice. Mm-hmm. So they really wanted to get him on the field to see what he could do before, they made a decision on him. So I'm looking forward to watch David Kenny get in there and sort of see what he can do. And, I'll be looking for him to see if he does play inside linebacker a little bit as well, just to run the clock. Not that he's going to be there, but he'll be a depth piece. If he's going to make the team, he might make the team inside linebacker. I don't know. But, David Kenny, number 46, was somebody I'll be watching at the outside linebacker position.
Well, staying right there, in that same area, Noah Spence, I think, has got to be another one. And, I mean, I don't know, Ren, are we going to get a good, healthy dose of Noah Spence here in the first preseason game, you think?
No, he's a starter.
All right. So,
I mean, they might, because the defensive line is interchangeable.
Yeah.
He might come in and, for breathers and stuff, but I just don't think so. I don't think we're going to that's why I didn't put Noah Spence down. Yeah. I'm really excited to see Noah Spence's preseason.
And that's why I asked about him. Because he kind of falls into that Devin White category for me now. Like, I need to see more out of him before I'm ready to commit to that, I guess.
Yes. To say I'm I am behind Noah Spence.
Right. Or to say I'm excited about him, or to say
Right.
anything about him. Like I don't have anything, to say, because what I know is he got an entire fourth preseason game last year and didn't do anything. So,
Yeah.
and then he basically, he's lucky he didn't get cut from the team altogether last year.
That was the last we saw of him.
Yeah, really
that
was.
fourth preseason
Really
game.
was. So I will move off of Noah Spence,
All right.
and I will move to a more familiar name around Buccaneer land, Will Golston. He is another one that I'm actually, I've heard he's had a fine camp.
People are all over the place with him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
think, he hasn't got a lot of sort of like Twitter pub.
Sure.
And if you don't get a lot of Twitter pub, it's kind of like, I haven't heard anything about him. Like, I saw somebody tweet who I respect as a Buck fan say something, God, I think it was about Noah Spence. It was like, there was all this heat on Noah Spence when camp opened, and then it died off.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, is he still doing good? Or like, what's going on? I haven't heard anything, like no one's talking about him. Well, it's because, the people that give you content, we've all talked about him already. So we're trying to find other guys to tell you about it. It's not that Noah Spence has fallen off or he's in danger of getting cut. It's just that we have told you about Noah Spence. Now I want to tell you about Dakota Dixon, and I want to tell you about David Kenny.
Mm-hmm.
So who are you talking about?
Will Golston.
Will Golston.
Yeah.
But Will's never got any heat whatsoever on Twitter. Right. And I think he's having a good camp. I think he's doing well in the run game as far as getting penetration. He's never been a big sacker, and he hasn't been a guy I've been keeping my eye on because, like you said, I kind of know what I got with Golston. 2 years ago he had an exciting year,
right?
And then he came back last year and it was just like, oh,
right,
okay.
Well, he got the big contract slump year. No.
He signed before that. He was
like before that.
Yeah, he's in his last year of a 4-year deal.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
I thought that was his thing last year, was we just signed him to something and he just was having one of those weird years.
No, the thing with it last year is everybody wanted to cut him. Because he was making like $6 million. And they're like, based. And I kept saying, well, they're going to keep him because of depth.
Right.
And, oh, by the way, his next year's salary goes down to $3 million.
Right. So he's getting cheaper again, right?
Yeah, exactly. He's getting cheaper. So, and I'm glad they hung on to him. It was a little scary, I guess. I saw him as a starting defensive end, which is really, they call him defensive end, defensive 10, nose guard on the depth chart, but they're really defensive tackles. They're techs but anyway, what about? I'm sorry, I sort of jumped the Will Golston train there.
No, I mean you hit it. It's exactly what you just said. Like I've heard that Will Golston hasn't been sucking, but he's not exactly been lighting it up either. But I hear he's been holding his own. So I want to see this Will Golston. He's not listed as a starter, is he? I haven't actually looked at.
He is. Yeah,
is he?
A starter. Yeah.
So who knows what we'll see out of him as well. But he's definitely a guy I want to see.
They and Golston.
Yeah.
Were the interior starters.
Wow. All right.
Exactly. Wow. Really? Huh.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think it was exactly my reaction. Really? Huh.
But I mean that goes that lends to what I'm talking about. Of you sit there and you go, okay, I heard he hasn't. I have this preconceived notion about who Will Golston is, which is not good.
Right.
Right. I've heard he's had an okay, decent camp, and then you look at the depth chart, and that actually, I think I do remember seeing that he was listed as a starter, and you go, And I'm in a spot now where I'm willing to go, okay, what do the coaches know that I don't know?
Yeah.
And I want to see that.
Yeah, show it to me.
Yeah.
So for the defensive end or defensive tackle position, I've got two guys. Ledbetter, 78. He's another guy that's climbed up the depth charts. He's going to get a lot of playing time. I want to see him play. I think he's a high-effort player. He's getting penetration in the interior line on pass and runs. He's also been getting mixed in with the ones during practice and doing fine. And then the last guy, number 79, Patrick O'Connor, because that's my last name.
Oh, yeah.
And He'll get some playing time. So
You have his jersey.
He ruined my shirt. I'm not sure if that's quite the same thing.
Right.
But he ruined my shirt because he's illiterate apparently. That's not fair. It was a fine point Sharpie. Okay, here's the story.
It was a fine point Sharpie.
Yeah, it's a fine point Sharpie. So here's the story. Like I don't wear like a lot of swag. I don't wear jerseys and stuff. I just kind of find it weird, having a grown man's name across my back. I don't look down on people that do wear them, unless you wear them, out to dinner.
Mm-hmm.
If you wear it to a game, that's fine. But anyway, it doesn't matter. But we went to, what was it? It was a draft.
It was the draft party. Yeah, the draft party at the Bucs.
2 years ago.
2 years ago, right?
Yeah, and so we're in the club area and we're kind of hanging out, sucking up the air conditioning, and Riley Bulla and Patrick O'Connor are at the top of the escalator, sort of saying hi to people.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, screw it. Like, I'm going to get Patrick O'Connor to sign the back of my shirt. And since the Sharpie was so fine, I think he almost carved it into me. But he did his best. He sort of signed it and then tried to write O'Connor like on the back of like a nameplate.
Mm-hmm.
And like a first time kind of write on a chalkboard. It starts out big and then gets smaller and smaller and smaller. It sort of tapered off, and I'm like, "How'd he do?" And you're like, I'm like, take a picture, send it to me.
Yeah.
And as soon as I opened it up, I'm like, he ruined my shirt.
Right.
You ruined my shirt, Patrick O'Connor. But
but at least it was your own name.
That's the whole point.
Right.
I'm wearing my own name.
At least it was your own name.
Yeah, that was the whole point of the thing in the first place. It was my own name. So I've only got one more position for the defense. You got anything else?
No, I'm good. I'm done. That's my guys.
Last guy, and this is funny. Like, I thought safety would be the position to watch. Like, we all said that. Like,
yeah.
What's going to be the best position to watch at training camp? Safety.
Mm-hmm.
Well, with the injury to Justin Evans, and now, like, I would have really liked to watch Dakota Dixon play, but
Sure.
he's on IR.
Yeah, he's out. He's gone. He's done, right?
He's gone. Yeah, he's IR. He's done for the year.
Yeah.
So now that position's getting kind of thin. It was supposed to be watch all this competition. Now it's like, oh my God, like
Mm-hmm.
cannot have one of these starters go down. And one of them's the rookie. One of the rookies, the very few rookies that are making the trip, are actually going to play, and that's Edwards.
Sure.
I want to see him. I want to see him against another team.
So with the injuries being where they are, is Edwards going to be listed as a starter at least for this game?
He was listed, but even before Dakota was hurt, he was listed as a starter.
Okay, so
I keep hearing this, like on the radio. There's a debate, like the over/under on Mike Edwards starts at 8, and it's like he's a starter now. It's
yeah.
like,
so, but I mean, especially with where they are with the position, like this could be a starter, quote unquote, that we actually see get some significant playing time throughout this game.
I would like to think that, but safety is like we had like 9 safeties on this team at one time.
Oh, okay.
After, because, Dixon's gone and Justin Evans isn't playing, but there's still like three safeties back there.
Gotcha.
There's a guy we got from Green Bay, and then there's Isaiah Johnson, and then there's one other one. So there's still, even with Whitehead and Edwards sitting, you still can rotate like 3 safeties for the rest of the game.
All right.
All right.
Well, we'll see
but I would like to see, like you say, if he's a rookie. It all depends. It's risk versus reward right now.
Sure.
And we'll see. It's the first year of Bruce Arians. We'll see how he feels about giving players like SMB and Edwards and White how valuable he thinks live reps against another team is against weighing in a potential injury.
Sure. I get that.
Anything else?
Man, the only other thing that I can say that I'm really interested to see, and it's almost I'm interested to see just how limited it is going to be, is I'm interested to see BA. I'm interested to see him in an actual live coaching situation in a game, and I know he won't be getting a lot of screen time, but I'm interested to see how that's going to be for him. What does this new out of retirement, not calling the plays BA look like?
Right. How many times he reaches up on his belt for the button to click in
right,
and talk.
Right. Run
Barber. It's the third play of the game, Coach. Run, Barber.
Right. So yeah, that's more just curiosity than it is anything else. So.
Right.
But yeah, that's about it.
Yeah, I think he's gonna be fine in the preseason because in the end he knows it doesn't count.
Right.
You know?
Now I will say this, and I was really impressed. I was watching the press conference with BA. I think it might have been the one you were at.
I've been at them all.
But like, you know, we talk about, okay, it's a preseason game. It's the first preseason game, especially like we're not there to necessarily win the game. We're not throwing a lot of stuff out there. Everything's very vanilla. We're really looking to see what we've got in various players and different things like that. If you win, whatever. He really seems to want to win this game.
Yeah.
Like to win anyway. Like whether it's preseason or not. And I like that. Like it's one thing to just kind of go, yeah, it's a preseason game, doesn't really matter, which is true. But to go, yeah, but we want to win anyway. And the way he couched it was like, look, it's the rookies who are going to be playing. And if they play good enough to win and to be on the team, then we should win. And I want to win the game. Like, he's going to call the game like they should win. It just is going to be, you know, it's just going to be with different personnel. You know, it's not going to be with the big personnel. But, you know, he is going to try to win the game, not just like, remember with Cutter, like it very much was like Cutter had his script. He had who he wanted to see. He did what he wanted to do.
He treated it like a glorified practice.
He really did. Right. Yeah. Right. I don't think BA is going to be like that. I think he'll try to call the game. And I like that because for his play callers, especially Byron Leftwich, who's relatively new at this job, like, no, go call a game. Call a live game. Like, actually do it. Try to go out and win.
We're going to try to win. Like,
yeah.
We've seen enough snaps from these guys, and,
yeah,
you know, we got the first half to figure out, like, win the game. Like, that's why we're here. We're here to win. Like, don't call – it's 3rd and 18. Don't call a run up the middle because you want to see Bruce Anderson.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Throw – call a play that you think, you know, you could possibly get 18 yards on.
Right.
Yards.
Right. So it's kind of rewriting the book for me a little bit and how I watch a preseason game. You know, I'm not going to come out of this game if we win pounding our chest saying we're going to the Super Bowl, but I'm excited to see the Buccaneers win a game, preseason or not.
Yeah, no shit. Sorry.
Well said. Put a cap on that one.
Yeah.
That's the end of this conversation.
All right, we have one more announcement before we go, though.
Oh, we do?
Yes. Brent, I'm throwing this to you.
Uh-oh.
It's not as bad as you think. Fantasy football.
Oh, yeah, fantasy football. Lots of you guys out there have been text messaging or direct messaging, emailing, asking about fantasy football. And the answer is yes, we are going to do it. Here's what you need to do. Email us to thepewtercast@gmail.com. In the subject line, put fantasy football. Here's the way we're going to do it. Ren and I are going to be in this league. This is a 12-person league. We will run a 12-person league. So that's 10 people. The first 10 of you who sign up, you're in. And we'll let you guys know here. You've got like a week to do this because we got to get this rolling. We'll have a draft coming up here real soon. If there are enough of you out there who email in and we can fill out 2 complete teams, we'll run this just like we did last year. We'll have the BFC and the RFC, the Brent League and the Brent Fantasy League and the Ren Fantasy League, and we'll run 2 concurrent deals. But outside of that, we'll keep one. So get your emails in, get them in now. If you have already messaged me and said, "Hey, I want to be in," email me anyway. Okay, like that's
you gotta make it official.
Yeah, don't just depend on saying, "Well, I already talked to you." Please email me anyway because that's how I'm going to be able to keep these all straight and make sure that everybody gets their invites. But just do that. Pewtercast@gmail.com. Put Fantasy Football League in the subject line and let me know that you want to be in, and we'll get you guys in, and we'll get this draft going here and be off with our fantasy league this year.
Yeah. So roughly, what we're really looking for is 22 players.
Yeah.
You know, you're going to run a league, I'll run a league, and then, you know, the way we set it up last year, we actually had we did do that. We had an interleague champion, didn't we? We did, yeah. You did the math on it, like you crunched the numbers and, you know, skewed it so that you would come out and win the winner at the end. Yeah. Well, and it wasn't disputed, so hey,
Yeah.
I'm the champ. I thought, what, I lose like 2 games last year?
I don't know. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. It was, and I'm looking for a better effort this year because that was pathetic. RS. That's why it's named after me. You guys are terrible. Terrible. But anyway, yeah, and Brent will set out tweets on the Pewtercast talking about it the next few days. I'll tweet about it too. Underscore or Ren underscore Dax on Twitter. And the draft, which is always the best way to draft, will be after the 3rd preseason game. Somewhere after the 3rd preseason game, before the 4th preseason game.
Unless it's not.
Unless it's not. But it's not going to be before the 3rd preseason game.
Yeah.
Because you got to have that game where all the starters play and go into the 3rd quarter and make sure they're healthy. Because I'm not drafting Christian McCaffrey and then have him blow his knee in the 3rd preseason game and have my season over before it even started because I had the draft
way too
early. And that's the reason why you do that, because none of them play in preseason game 4.
Right.
So they all make it healthy. Everyone has a fair shot that who's going to be healthy week 1, and we'll get into it.
Anybody that's playing in preseason game 4, you are not drafting in fantasy.
Yeah.
So, simple as that. Right.
Exactly. Unless it's a kicker.
Right. So, but Ren, one more thing for the people who are listening to this. Before the game in Philadelphia this week. Pittsburgh,
What?
sorry. Before the game in Pittsburgh this week, the other Pennsylvania, after the game on Friday night, we will be having our instant cast.
Ooh.
We will go live. We'll be on YouTube. The phone line will be open, provided all the technology works. Preseason's for us too. We're trying out all our gear, so it's been a while. We got to dust it off, Ren, and get it ready to go. But we will be having that, so you guys can tune in. We'll be live on youtube.com/the Pewtercast, probably on Mixler as well. If you guys want to join us in the chat room, the phone line will be open. We'll be talking about that first preseason game if you guys want to join us live. And, of course, it'll be out following the live broadcast on the podcast feed pretty quickly as well. So you guys make sure you join us for that as we kick off a brand new season of Buccaneers football. I'm so excited, Ren.
Football's back.
Yeah, baby.
All right, give everybody your social media stuff.
Yeah, if you guys want to get in touch with me, you can find me at Brent Allen Live across all the social medias, and the show is at the Pewtercast on Twitter and on Facebook. And like we said, that email address is thepewtercast@gmail.com.
Best way to find me is on Twitter at Rendax, REN_DAXT. I'm always down to talk Buccaneers football, but if you want to put your opinion on blast, you can always slide in my DMs and I will accept your request and we can talk about football or Buccaneers football there as well too. Now's the time of the show, Brent. You don't get to talk anymore. I'm playing a little Dolly Parton.
Jolene, 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 I'm begging of you, please don't take my man. Jolene, 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 please don't take him just because you can. Your beauty is beyond compare, with flaming locks of auburn hair, with ivory skin and eyes of emerald green.